On the 30th of January, Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik Buterin posted on X that the Ethereum Foundation was entering a period of what he called mild austerity. He framed this as a strategic pivot designed to deliver on an aggressive development roadmap while preserving the foundation's long-term financial sustainability. And alongside that announcement, he revealed something that initially seemed like a confident multi-year commitment. He had personally withdrawn over 16,000 ETH, worth roughly $43 million at the time, to fund a suite of open-source software, hardware, privacy tools, encrypted communications, biotech, and secure operating system projects. The funds, he said, would be deployed over the next few years. The market reacted predictably. ETH dipped around 7% on the day, but the long-term framing reassured most investors. Austerity, yes, but considered, strategic, multi-year austerity. Analysts praised the transparency. Community members called it mature stewardship. But 4 days later, the on-chain data started telling a very different story. Today on Web3 Verse, Alex is giving you the full picture on what is actually happening with Ethereum right now, the selling, the structural problems, and what it all means going forward. Let's get into it. Starting on the 2nd of February, on-chain trackers began flagging significant ETH movements from wallets attributed to Vitalik. Between the 2nd and 5th of February alone, approximately 6,183 ETH were sold at an average price of around $2,140, roughly $13.2 million in under 4 days. ETH fell from around $2,360 at the start of that window to $1,825 by the end of it. A 22.7% decline. Then came a brief 2-week pause before the selling resumed. On the 22nd of February, Vitalik withdrew 3,500 ETH from the Aave lending protocol and began swapping portions into stablecoins. Another 1,869 ETH followed over the next 2 days, worth approximately $3.67 million. By the 24th of February, the running total for the month had climbed to somewhere between 10,700 and 10,800 ETH sold, valued at approximately $21.74 million. He said a few years. He sold nearly half the allocation in 3 weeks. Those two things are not easily reconcilable. To be fair about the full picture though, the sales were not secret. The January 30th withdrawal was publicly announced and widely covered within hours. The sales are being routed through a decentralized exchange aggregator specifically designed to use batch auctions that minimize price impact and protect against front-running bots. And Vitalik's remaining holdings sit at around 224,000 ETH worth approximately $416 million. The amount sold this month represents less than 4% of his total stack. So why does it matter? Because optics are a force multiplier in financial markets, and the timing is genuinely terrible. The crypto fear and greed index hit an all-time low of 5 during this period, lower than it bottomed during the FTX collapse. ETH has fallen over 45% from its January peak. And in that same period, ETH underperformed Bitcoin by nearly 11 percentage points. That gap requires an explanation, and a founder selling into maximum fear is the match thrown onto an already fuel-soaked floor. The direct selling triggered something far larger. On the 1st of February, over $2.5 billion in crypto positions were liquidated in 24 hours. Ethereum led the carnage with $1.15 billion in positions wiped out as it fell 17% in a single day. 434,000 traders were liquidated in that window, with roughly 93% of them holding long positions, retail investors who had been accumulating through the late 2025 rally using leverage to amplify their exposure. This is how liquidation cascades work. At high leverage, even a small price drop hits margin requirements and forces automatic position closures. Those forced closures dump supply onto the market, pushing prices down further. That lower price triggers the next layer of leveraged longs, creating more forced selling. Market makers pull liquidity. Retail panic follows. Spot price craters even though the original selling was relatively modest. The psychological signal of a founder selling into extreme fear amplifies the effect far beyond the dollar value of the ETH actually moved. But here is where the story gets genuinely complicated, because the very same day Vitalik continued selling, the Ethereum Foundation announced it was staking approximately 70,000 ETH, with all staking rewards directed back into the treasury to fund protocol research, ecosystem development, and community grants. At current staking yields, that generates roughly 2,000 ETH per year flowing back into operations. Staking is not selling. The principal stays locked. Supply is removed from circulation. It signals long-term conviction in the network's proof-of-stake security model. So let's be precise. Vitalik Buterin is selling from his personal wallet through a philanthropic vehicle to fund projects he publicly committed to. The Ethereum Foundation's treasury, holding approximately 172,000 deployable ETH, is not being sold. It is being staked. Two separate actors, two separate pools of capital, two fundamentally different intentions. The legitimate critique is not that Vitalik is betraying the network. It is that selling nearly half your stated multi-year allocation in 3 weeks creates a credibility gap between communication and action that has real market consequences. But beyond the selling controversy, Ethereum has a deeper structural problem that no staking announcement can paper over. When the Denkin upgrade launched in March 2024, it introduced dedicated blob space for Layer 2 networks to post transaction data to Ethereum mainnet at dramatically reduced cost. Layer 2 usage exploded exactly as intended. But something else happened simultaneously. The fees that Layer 2 networks had been paying to the Ethereum base layer collapsed completely. In 2024, Layer 2 networks paid approximately $130 million to Ethereum in security fees, around 41% of their total revenue. In 2025, that number fell to just $10 million. Less than 10% of Layer 2 revenue now flows back to the base layer. The remaining money is retained as profit by Layer 2 operators. Ethereum built the highway and watched toll booths get installed by someone else. Average gas fees on mainnet have collapsed 93% from a year ago. With fees near zero, token burns through EIP 1559 are near zero. With issuance continuing, Ethereum is now mildly inflationary. The ultrasound money narrative that underpinned a significant portion of Ethereum's bull case is currently broken. This structural challenge is reflected clearly in the ETH to BTC ratio, which sits at multi-year lows and has been underperforming Bitcoin for 14 consecutive months, approaching the duration of a full crypto bear market in relative terms. Institutional data adds further pressure. BlackRock's spot Ethereum ETF has seen nearly $820 million in negative net flows over the past month. The average acquisition cost across all spot Ethereum ETF holders is approximately $3,500 per ETH. With ETH trading below $1,900, the average ETF investor is sitting on unrealized losses exceeding 45%. Across all 5 Ethereum ETFs, that represents approximately $5.15 billion in paper losses. So what is the verdict? The secret dumping framing circulating online is wrong. The sales were publicly announced and executed through impact minimizing mechanisms. But the tension between a few years and 3 weeks is real. The structural challenge from Layer 2 fee cannibalization is real. The ETH to BTC ratio at multi-year lows is real. The $5 billion in ETF unrealized losses is real. And the psychological damage of watching any founder sell into maximum fear, regardless of stated purpose, is absolutely real. Ethereum's long-term development roadmap remains intact. Upcoming upgrades aim to drive meaningful activity back to the base layer. Institutional interest in staking-enabled ETH products is growing. The network itself is as technically robust as it has ever been. But conviction signals do not pay margin calls. And right now, the investors holding leveraged long positions have already discovered that the hard way. That is everything for today on Web3 Verse. Drop your thoughts in the comments and we will see you in the next one.